Hey, what's up you guys? Dr. Sharma here. I hope you guys like the new fast-paced videos I've been doing. Because honestly, I don't have that much time to waste, and more importantly, you don't have that much time to waste. Like, I really don't need to add in any fluff. So get through these super short and sweet videos quickly, and watch them twice if you need to. And please guys, like and subscribe for more content. It helps me know how I'm doing, and can help me get an idea of what you guys want to watch next. You've embarked on a huge journey through one of the hardest graduate schools ever created. As you know, learning huge amounts of information in medical school is kind of like leaving Target without actually buying anything. It's super hard. Okay, that's like not the best analogy, but you kind of get the idea, right? I've seen a ton of people make a lot of mistakes with UWorld, and that's what this video is going to be about. I know there's a ton of resources that you could be choosing, and you could literally choose from anything that's out there, but this is literally the most important question bank you're going to be using, so please use it correctly. Remember, when you're studying for the step one, you need to do questions. Now, I understand that you could continue using UWorld the way that you use it, and you'll probably do fine, but at the very least, I could at least show you some tips to be more efficient at it, and that way you can save time doing other things and reviewing. By all means, if you figured out a way to tackle your question banks, then just stick with that. I ended up doing pretty well, and I utilized this question bank the most, so I think I've got some advice and tips that I could give you guys. Take it or leave it, but let's get started. I see people do UWorld questions and then not review it the same day, or put it off reviewing it until later that day or the next day. That's wrong. You're gonna forget to review your quiz, and leaving it for the next day is gonna turn into, I'm just tired to review this today and it's not like my patient's dying. Getting to this point is not easy, so you better stick with it. Review your exam the same day, that way you can really get to your wrongs, and that way you won't let evil procrastination get to your head. Now, stemming off of that, I see people not using tutor mode. I think this is also wrong in my opinion, and this is why. Imagine training your dog not to pee on carpet and then chastising him either the next day or later on. He's probably gonna look at you confused like, what did I do wrong? You need to condition your dog at the time of the event. It's kind of like Pavlov's dogs. Therefore, you need to train yourself not to make that mistake right away. I hope I didn't offend anybody by comparing us to dogs and being conditioned and stuff. Don't take that personally, but you are training yourself. The best time to train yourself is when you make a wrong answer and learn the correct answer and why you made that mistake. Otherwise, that mistake is just gonna stick and you might get it wrong on the exact actual thing. I see people not spending enough time on the questions that they get wrong. Makers of UWorld are not messing around when they say they've created an exam that's gonna help you pass step one and actually do well. That's a really big statement, and I really think that's a company that can really stand up to it. The explanations are laid out very well in detail, and most of the time it'll be explained to you in simple terms. It's also not just the question vignettes that's going to get you the points, it's actually more of the explanations. When you get a question wrong, you need to be able to read through the explanation, take your time with it, and then come up with your own mnemonic or diagram to help you learn it. Write down that explanation as your textbook, so that way when you review, you'll see that every single time you're learning and reviewing that topic. How long it takes on a question totally depends on the individual. I'll be honest, I spent sometimes nearly up to 30 minutes spending my time on one question, because I know I had the potential to get that exact same question on my exam, and I had the potential to get derivatives of that question on my exam as well. That's a ton of points. I was so slow at going through my wrongs, it's literally insane. I see people spending too much time on the right answer. If you got a question right and it's your second time going through a question, you need to be spending a little bit less time on the ones that you get right. Now, I know what you're thinking. You rolled a second time? Yeah, I'll explain that part in a minute, but getting back to getting a question right. If you've gotten a question right using your own technique, meaning that you've used a mnemonic or pulled up a diagram into your head to get it correct, or if it's just a plain and simple easy question, it means you know that information and you need to spend less time on it and move on. Time is of the essence. I see people reviewing every single question, even the ones that they got right, in order to think of derivatives that could come up on their exam. Now, I'm not saying that's wrong by any means, but just spend a little bit less time doing that on your second round. And most importantly, make sure you learn that right answer, even if it's just a really simple question or something that you've already known, and learn it cold. If you're gonna be reviewing every single question in detail, try to review the presentation. The way that UWorld presents questions to you is a little bit of a vague patient presentation with physical exam findings that you have to know. These are super important, and I'll be honest, as a physician, I really used a lot of those findings and had to really know them. For example, when you're auscultating a patient's chest and they inspirate and you hear bibasilar crackles, you have to know what that means. Now, I see people using UWorld only once. Like, guys, that's not enough times. You need to be going through UWorld more than just once. It's an amazing tool, and the majority, and I mean the majority, of the information that you have to know on your exam is gonna come up on UWorld. So at least do it twice. If you watch any of my other videos, I've laid out how I've utilized this question bank in my study plan and my schedule, and how it allowed me to score over a 250 on both my step one, and I talk about more about it in my step two. You spent a lot of money on this question bank, assuming you've bought it, so definitely take advantage of it big time. Finally, review everything in your first aid. I see people just having UWorld open up on their laptop with nothing in front of them, and I'm sure that's okay on your third go around of UWorld or something like that, but if it's your first or second, you definitely need to be having your biggest review book out in front of you and going through every information in detail, how you've laid it out, so that you're ready on exam day to really recall that information on your own. When you go through a question, find where it is in your book, go to it, jot it down in the main area, and learn it. I know it's a long journey, but you guys can do it. Just use these techniques and you'll start learning a lot more information and retaining more. Remember that the more time you put into your resources, the better you're gonna do overall. It's definitely worth taking the time to study up, because residency interviews definitely take this into account. Please let me know if you guys have any questions. Also, it would mean a lot to me if you guys could like and subscribe. Go ahead and comment, compliment, whatever you guys would like at the bottom. I'll be honest, I actually look down there at what you guys are saying, and it really means a lot to me. As always, good luck.